They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Dead Dare, a horror podcast.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Dead Air, a horror podcast. My name is Chris Costello. I am your resident horror fanatic. And as always, I am joined by my co-hosts, horror fan Aaron Cristobal.
Yeah, I am a big horror fan. I've been watching horror since I was a kid, and I can't explain why I like it. I do get scared, but I watch it. I just take it as it is. That's me. When I watch a horror film, I just take it as it is. I don't really analyze it so much. I just base it on the scare factor and how it made me feel. So today's guest, Chris, amazing guest, right?
Live. Absolutely. A lot of people know him as a musician from either Sandwich or the Diegos or any other band that he's part of, or as a writer, film nerd.
Ooh.
But I know him as the guy who introduced me to George Romero.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing. So
rightfully so. I agree.
So guys, welcome Diego Castillo.
Yay! Welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Thank you.
We're so happy to have you here.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited for to share my love of horror, the blackest eyes. The devil's eyes.
We are so curious to know, Diego. How did you even start liking horror?
That's a great question. So much like you, Aaron, when I was a kid, both my mom and dad were huge horror fans. Since I'm much older than, I assume, older, maybe not much older, but older than both of you and Chris, in the 80s, my mom and dad would rent VHS, Betamax tapes, and we would run the gamut from Exorcist, Amityville. The film that we are about to discuss, Halloween, had a huge impact when I was young. And so it was just something that, it was our family Sunday bonding thing, which is weird. You know, most families, they watch Three's Company or Cosby Show. We watched horror films, you know. And of course, Dawn of the Dead, which unfortunately somebody beat me to that film. I would have gladly discussed the merits of George Romero's Dawn of the Dead for a whole day. But it's okay. I love this film as well. Have you mentioned the film, by the way? Not yet, right?
Not yet. So yeah. So that's the next part. The next part is we want to know what film you chose and why you chose it.
Okay. The film that I chose is John Carpenter's Halloween. And I remember I was probably like 8 years old when I first saw it. It was my mom, my dad, my brothers, my three brothers and I. And I just remember we kept on screaming and screaming. My folks were pretty cool, even though it was kind of gory. Not really gory, but you know, and there's gratuitous nude scenes. My folks were pretty cool that they're like, oh, you know, we'll let them watch this. We'll let them. So growing up, I remember that we were just so shocked by the way the Michael Myers character was just so stoic, and it just seemed like the most horrifying thing as kids to see. And my parents were screaming. My mom was just like, you know, and it's the cliche thing, like screaming at the TV, asking Jamie Lee Curtis to run faster.
But even like, why are you still there?
Oh, leave. Why are you there? You know, like, you know, stuff.
Why
like
did
that.
you drop the knife?
Yeah. So I remember very, very, very distinctly like us screaming and not really experiencing that level of horror. We'd seen Exorcist before prior to this, but I don't know. There was just something about this that was just so like you could open your door and Michael Myers could be,
because it's more like on a realistic plane.
Yes. Even though you're a kid, you understand that. Oh, okay. If we had the cross, and say, you know, the power of Christ compels you, then maybe you can sort of. I'm not kidding. You know, it's because that's what my mom said. See. So if we have a cross, then we're safe. But she couldn't say jack about that. Like, we have to run faster than this woman here. That's about it. You know, so that's why I guess it made such a huge impact on me, and it reminds me of my family. Believe it or not.
Wow.
It reminds me of being happy kids watching horror films, and Halloween was one of those. You know, top tier.
I really love that you said that, because that's actually really part of my experience with horror in general. Is I like watching it with my family.
Yes.
Well, not a lot of people in my family like horror. My a few of my sisters do, but I really like it that we're all watching like in the enclosed space, and then we feel kind of protected and protective over each other while
Yes.
we're watching something super scary on screen.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It
Yes.
really adds to the ambiance of everything.
Do you guys do this when you watch with your family? For example, you pick the character, like, oh, Chris, that's you. The older brother is you. So when they're killed off, we start laughing. It's like it's weird stuff like that. That's sort of, I know it's bizarre and maybe very macabre, but that's how we all bonded as siblings and as my folks. And so I get what you're talking about. That's exactly
Yeah.
how we were.
My
That's
mom
super
and
cool.
I actually, because my mom's a single mom and I'm an only child, she will not watch a horror movie if I'm not there.
Without you. Yes.
Like
yes,
she'll
yes.
try. She'll
Yes.
try. Like I think she watched, what was the most recent one she watched? No, not the most recent one, but she watched The Devil's Advocate, and then there's a scene where the girl takes off her shirt and her face changes, and she watched that by herself, and then she turned it off, and she was like, "Aaron, no, you have to come in here. You have to watch this." With me." I don't protect her, naman. I'm not, you know.
I know
That's true.
that exact scene. That scene is kind of terrifying. Huh?
Yeah.
Her
Yeah.
face
Is that in the-
changes.
Doesn't she also
Yeah.
undress in the church? Diba? There's also a scene where I don't remember. Maybe
Ooh, I don't remember. I just remember that scene because it was
I
pretty
haven't seen it in a
scary.
while.
Yeah.
So for everyone who hasn't seen Halloween yet, I mean, I'm sure everyone's heard of it. Everyone knows Michael
Yeah.
Myers and everything. But
Yeah.
as a quick recap, Aaron, how would you summarize the movie?
Ooh. Oh, here we go again. Okay, it's
Yeah.
like, I know what you did last summer, but whiter.
Okay. Actually, hindi I mean, that's okay. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's how I've
Yeah.
been describing the movies. I always compare it to something else. But can I just say, so I texted the group after or while I was watching this, and I asked, is John Carpenter some kind of genius? Kasi written
Yes.
by John Carpenter, directed by John Carpenter, music by John Carpenter. I was like, Exage, this guy's gotta chill. Wild.
That's right.
Galing.
That's right.
It's
Galing
incredible.
talaga. No, he really is.
And it's such a memorable tune.
Absolutely.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It is. It is. And it repeats so much over the course of the movie. No? So by the end of the movie, you're like, you get triggered by
By the piano.
the soundtrack.
Yeah. No, and it's odd time. The ding 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 ding. It's 5/4. It's like it's got that weird eerie feel. And
Yeah.
I bet if you remove the soundtrack, because the shots are just wide shots of a sidewalk, but if you insert that music, it automatically gives you this like, oh, this is like some creepy ass shit. Remove that. It's just a sidewalk. It's just a sidewalk with the girls walking. But you cue in that music and everything becomes ominous. It's scary. There's something there. It sort of tells you, oh, okay, there's a bad element coming, which is really which is one of the powers then of this movie. It's so simple. It's shot incredibly simply, but also beautifully. But the music, I swear, the music really is the one that takes it over. Aaron's right. It's the music that takes it over the edge. Parang that's it's too much when he rises, when the dun dun dun. It's like, oh no, you know. There's nothing really scary. I mean, it really technically, again, if you mute your TV, he's just walking towards you and walking slow. I might add.
Yeah.
He ain't walking fast, y'all. But I don't know.
No. Actually, before this podcast, I did a lot of IMDb research.
Okay.
Because anyway, but that's so funny that you said that, because actually it said that there was this one time where John Carpenter wasn't done with the film. He showed his first cut to an executive who said that it wasn't scary at all.
At all.
And then
it
was because the cut that he showed him was without music at
Yes.
So that was his first cut. He showed it without music. The movie premiered. The executive was like, "Okay, that was fucking scary," and that really speaks to how much the music added to everything.
Yeah.
No. This is incredible. It's really incredible.
And it's not. Did you guys think that it was dated? Like, you guys just watch it again? Is the music? It's still creepy as fuck. I mean, it's
the music is absolutely scary.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic. So for people who haven't seen the movie, right? It's basically about a
Do you want me to help you there?
escape mental patient.
Yeah.
Not just yet. You have to go back to the beginning.
Please go.
The story is about a little boy.
You do, yes, please.
In 1963, who I'm not going to spoil. It's obviously we're going to talk about the movie.
Can spoil it. Yeah.
Who murders his sister?
Yeah.
Right. And then he's brought to an insane asylum where there's a doctor who we will discover in the movie, Dr. Loomis, who treats the boy and says that I quote, "He has the darkest eyes, the devil's eyes." I swear that's what he says, you know, and you fucking believe him, you know, because you don't really know if you're watching it for the first time, like it's just a little boy, and then of course he escapes the mental asylum. I think how many more years? But 17 years after the fact. I think 63.
Plus 17.
17 years after that.
You're right. 15.
15.
And
15.
the name of the town is Haddonfield, Illinois, which is a fictional town, but there really is a Haddonfield, New Jersey, where the producer, Deborah Hill, who was then married, or at least girlfriend niya si John Carpenter, was born and raised in Haddonfield, New Jersey. So they used the name Haddonfield, Illinois. He comes back Halloween and, you know, comes back to his old house and starts murdering people. I mean, that's in a nutshell, right? Not in a nutshell.
In a nutshell, that's it. It's such a simple premise, but it's so funny because, like, again, like watching it, because the first time I saw this kind of late, actually, as a horror fan. I saw this kind of late. I think I saw the first time I saw this movie was probably about 10 years ago, and that's criminal. I should have seen this like 20 years ago. You know what I mean? But that first reveal at the very start, when it's just the first person point of view of the stalking and then the murder. And then it cuts to, it's a fucking kid. I remember my reaction when I saw that. I was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's incredible. Like,
yeah. I mean, also I think their cinematographer, Dean Cudney, did that first sequence is like 5 minutes straight with no cuts. Even for the people who are not, you know, film nerds, they'll realize that it's just one straight take. The scene is that outside the house, peeps through the window, goes a back door, gets a knife, climbs up the stairs, and then it changes again. The POV becomes the mask POV. So you see those two slit hole, and then sees the sister, murders the sister. And this is like 5 minutes straight with that creepy music coming through. So even from the beginning alone, is it overused? But parang stylized, very stylish looking. For a 70s, 78, it was done in 1978. It's very stylish look. It's shot even though it's an independent film. By the way, guys, here's the story. It was shot in 78 for $300,000, which right now in 2020, adjusted for inflation, is like $1.1 million, which is not a lot of.
That's nothing.
And it made $60 million for that $300,000 investment. So they made a shitload of money. It was a hit, and you had all these young people. John Carpenter was young. Deborah Hill, who also wrote and helped produce it, was also young. So there's young people. Jamie Lee Curtis, first film.
That's her first.
Yep. That's her first film. Introducing her first film. She's probably 18 years old. And, I don't know. There's a lot of really cool stuff and for those who are listening,
so cool.
Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, of course, is Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh is
from
it's
Psycho.
The girl that's it's Psycho. So ang galing. Parang it's a horror. There's a lot of little underlying. And then the name Loomis, Sam Loomis, is the name of Janet Leigh's boyfriend in Psycho. So they used that name, used it for the Donald Pleasance character. So there's a lot of, if you're a horror fanatic, you're like, wow, there's many layers of like celebrating Hitchcock, celebrating. In the movie, the kids are watching Howard Hawks' The Thing.
The Thing.
Right?
Which John Carpenter, you're right.
Makes.
We'll remake it. There's a lot of little underlying things that happen that are pretty cool.
That's super cool you brought that up, Jex, because it's a treasure trove for horror fanatics. Like even the name Loomis, you already said that, right? Like the past. It's referenced like now, like it's a character in the Scream franchise.
That's right. Erin was just
Billy Loomis. Yeah.
So tama si Erin because she said her synopsis was that it was. Am I correct by the screen? No,
I said
screen.
I know what you did last song.
Okay. I'm sorry. My fault.
Pero same.
Same. Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
So,
sorry.
Yeah. So it's like a treasure trove of stuff that's. It references the past horror films before it, and it gets referenced so many times
Yeah.
in current in current horror films. Like we were talking earlier about how much the film has obviously influenced certain films, like It Follows.
Yes.
It Follows is one of the films that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes of this podcast. And watching Halloween again right after watching It Follows, you see everything that influenced, everything that inspired the director of It Follows. You know, like he takes almost a shot for shot. Walking down the sidewalk is just referenced immediately. It looks exactly like the Halloween shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. I also
Horror in suburbia, and then the whole the stalking shots, POV shots. It's incredible.
The nonchalant way that the protagonist moves, diba? Kasi hindi nila I mean,
exactly.
they're not running. They're gonna get to you. Like in It Follows, it's just slowly, just like Michael Myers is gonna get to you, walking, just at that snail's pace, but he's gonna get to you. So I agree.
I found it funny that because I told Sila Chris that I watched it with the intention of, okay, I'm going to watch it as somebody who was living in the 70s. And it was scary because if you watch it with the eyes of someone who's seen like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's kind of all the same. But if you remember that this was out in the 70s, then you have a different point of view and it's actually really scary. But I found it funny because what made it dated for me was yung dialogue.
Yes.
Hey, meatheads.
Yes.
Hey, meatheads. You better not be doing this, meatheads.
Yeah, exactly. Like the speed kills. Who the hell says that? No, but you're right. And I think Aaron's point is excellent because you have to also take into consideration the time that it was done. Now you can say like, oh, it's a slasher film. Yeah, but this was the slasher film that began it all. Or at least Toby Hopper had done Texas Chainsaw ahead. But this was
different.
It's different.
Yeah.
Also, it's not gory, huh? Like Halloween is not.
Gory at all.
I was shocked. I thought when I was a kid it was so gory, but there is halos no blood.
No.
It's not, but it just works. It's still friggin' scary despite all the lack of blood or the the splatter or whatnot. It's just good scares. It's the way that it's shot and the way that you know.
It's so sparse, in its storytelling. It's so simple. Like he doesn't take a lot of coverage. He doesn't take a lot of cuts. You know what I mean? Like everything is so planned out and so simple. Oh man, this is my favorite part is when Michael Myers kills the boyfriend who's like getting a beer for his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He just stabs him straight through the stomach, and then there's this beautiful like wide shot of Michael Myers He's just staring at him.
But
he hung him up on the wall and he's just staring at him. And then the shot lingers for so long. Wow, this movie is fucking excellent.
When you were kids, did you ever, since you all of you watched horror films as young people, I think another attribute that Halloween did for me is that I already knew the pre-scare. You know when directors frame it, the thirds, that there's a black, that's where the thing, the whatever the content is going to pop up, right? But Carpenter was one of the first people I saw who would use this to super, and sometimes, wala. Which is so, like sometimes the door would open and you think, okay, here it comes, but it's not there. So now you're like, oh man, now you're like the heightened sense of where is the scare? I know it's coming, but I can't quite figure it out. Also makes the movie very nerve-wracking because the door opens and you're like, ito na yan, it's here. But then it's like, oh, it's not. It cuts to somewhere else, So
and not just that, there were times na sinusunod-sunod niya. Like when he discovered, she discovered the girl on the bed and then discovered the boyfriend.
In the cupboard.
Sunod-sunod.
Yeah. That's, you guys want to know what my favorite shot is? Speaking of creepy shot, there is one where I think that after Jamie Lee stabs him, there's a scene wherein she's by the wall, tapos may doorway ata and it's just black. And then they light it ever so gently. Like basically he's already diba? He's already there. Yeah. But then the cinematographer just puts that's a little bit more light and then exposes the white face. And to this day it's still like, holy shit, that's so cool. That's still creepy.
It's fantastic.
It's still fantastic.
it's not like he leaned forward.
No,
you know
he
what I
did
mean?
not. No, he did
Into
not.
the light. He didn't. He was
No.
just there the entire time.
That's
and then
right.
The light
That's
just
right. That's right.
Revealed.
That's right.
Yeah,
Revealed
it's
it.
so good.
Parang it's still so good. But it's like, whoa, that I should, somebody should steal that for their next horror
good,
film.
so good.
Ang galing. That's really cool. Yeah.
Ah, man, I had so much fun rewatching this movie. Seriously, but like as Aaron said earlier, like you sometimes you have to put yourself in the eyes of someone who saw it for the first time in the 70s, because
Yeah.
like when you see something like this now, like, and then you have the knowledge of all the movies that ripped it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now like the scares aren't so so potent, but it's not so scary, it's not so innovative, it's not so whatever.
In
But
fact,
like
I think that's why gore had to come in the Scream franchises and
Good
in
point.
the I Know What You Did
That's a
Last
very
Summer.
good point. That's a
Because
very
it
good
doesn't
point.
shock you anymore. So let's
Exactly.
show some intestines falling down.
Yeah.
Let's show
That's a very
some
good
brains,
yeah.
No, I
yeah.
agree. No, I agree.
Imagine if you saw this, if you really did see this in the 70s. Now it must have been a ride, because it's a really exciting movie. It's so tight. It's actually pretty short, and then the action goes. It ratchets up really fast towards the end.
Towards the end,
And
yeah.
like for someone watching it now, it's probably slow, but like at the time, it must have been like really groundbreaking and really
Yeah.
scary, like
Yeah.
for real.
For reals. No, I agree.
Yeah. I do have a slight it's not a problem. Pero kasi I saw things like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Ganun.
Yeah.
At the end of it, they show the why. Why did he chase this girl? Why is it this girl? In this movie, there was no real explanation as
Nothing.
to why it was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
he was
Wasn't.
following her talaga throughout the
Yeah.
whole thing. He ended up killing everyone, but
Yeah.
she was
Yeah.
the target.
No, I agree.
So that's my only problem. But the thing is it answered in the other 7 Halloween movies later on?
That's a good
I haven't
question.
seen them.
I don't know, actually. I don't know. I haven't seen everything.
The latest one does.
Oh yeah,
Ah.
yeah, but it's
They
not.
retconned it enough.
See,
Yeah.
here's let's not consider that. Even though it's Jamie Lee, and it's like I was just like,
Yeah.
oh man, it could have been. But
They explained it with childhood eh.
oh,
That's
yung
Diba?
parang ganon. I think my weird thing is that I'm fine with the no explanation only because I think it adds another element to the fear factor, because there is nothing between. It could very easily be Aaron.
Anyone.
It could
Yeah.
be you, because it's just a white friggin' face.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe that's, so that's why maybe when I was a kid, it was a little bit more nerve-wracking for me that parang,
Yeah.
why the hell is he, bakit niya ginagawa to? Why are you doing this? You don't know. So you could be just hanging downstairs and he happens to be driving that car.
That's true, no?
Here's speaking of funny thing, because Aaron had something funny. I was watching it and my wife and I were saying, paano natuto mag-drive? How did he? Because
He was in the prison.
because he was in prison
when he was like
at
10 years old.
and he's driving pretty well. And in fact, Donald Pleasant's character says, well, he sure knew what he was doing when he was driving. Sabi ko, tawa ko, yeah, okay. So they answer. They wanted to also, sige, let's put it in there, because how in the world did this little boy know how to drive really well?
Yeah.
'Cause, he was driving pretty well. so
Yeah.
that's the funny stuff.
I think the explanation was just like, wala, he's really baliw eh. So,
Ah.
wala lang.
Yeah.
That's the explanation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also like, did you both get into the supernatural aspect that was
I haven't seen any Halloween.
Okay. No, but for this one, isn't it Loomis who's sort of saying that it's not a human being? Diba? He kept on saying it's got the
Right.
black.
Oh, really?
Because he said like he's got the darkest eyes, the devil's
Pure
eyes.
evil.
Very good. Pure
Nothing but evil.
That's right. So
So
I
he's
guess
suggesting that there's
that
something
this-
not
that there's
human
something
about
that's
him.
right. That's kasi, and then of course, without spoiling, he's shot 6 times. He falls
Yeah.
off
Mhm.
at the end, and then when they look, he's gone.
He's not surprised.
He's not surprised.
Loomis is not surprised.
Loomis
He's
is
gone.
like, well, I told you, because he was sort of prefacing
Mhm.
it that it's the devil's eyes or something to that
Mhm.
effect.
Mhm.
But again, maybe these are dated things, a little bit dated, but it's still pretty cool when you think about,
It's super cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
78. Like,
What I think is super duper cool, and then this is referenced in trivia games all over the world, but the fact that the Michael Myers mask is actually a mask of William Shatner.
Yeah, that's
painted
true.
white. It's a hilarious bit of
Yes,
trivia. I think it's so funny.
That's true. With bigger eyes, just cut the eyes bigger.
They just
and
cut out
painted
the
it white,
eyes, yeah.
That was
Painted
it.
it white. And
Was that
apparently,
random?
they were choosing between William Shatner, Richard Nixon, and something else. I forgot.
Some clown ata eh, parang
Some
ganyan.
clown. Yeah, there's a clown, and then yeah.
Oh my God.
Galing,
Apparently, Shatner is not happy about it. By the way, like,
He had a statement.
I think somewhere like he's not happy about it.
Oh my gosh. Kawawa
But
naman.
it's
That
so
is funny.
cool, like,
But ang galing,
because
no?
that mask is
That's
really,
how
it's really
simple it was.
terrifying.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Because
Here's another.
It's like emotionless. You know what I
I
mean?
think talaga wala eh. White lang eh. White tapos it doesn't seem like it's mad either. Did you guys think that?
Yeah. No.
No, right?
Expressionless. Yeah.
Expressionless.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't. Here's my funny trivia while watching it. How many animals did Michael Myers kill?
Fuck, I don't know. He
Very
killed the
good.
dog, right?
Aaron is correct. Two.
The dog and who's
He
the other one?
he ate one dog.
Yeah, he ate one dog.
And he
And
killed
then
the other dog.
the other dog that was barking at him. That
Got
dog
it. Yeah.
named-
Oh,
lady.
yeah, outside the house. Yeah,
That's right. So he killed 4 people. Am I correct? 4? And 2
2 dogs.
dogs. Sabi ko, grabe no yung batting. Why 2 dogs eh?
Yeah.
And he-
For me,
diba?
that was really like, yeah, what a fucking psychopath. He killed 2
Yeah.
dogs.
2
And
dogs.
then you hear the way the dog yelped. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What a psycho.
The Loomis goes, he was hungry.
He was hungry.
I was like, how the hell do you know? Like he was hearing because somebody. It could have been a raccoon, I think, or a coyote.
It could be a
I think-
skunk.
A
It could have
skunk.
been a skunk. Yeah.
And you could see the disbelief on the policeman's face. Like he was hungry. Really?
That's cool.
But what I found galing also, I don't know if it's also it being dated, was naniwala agad yung police. Because if that was now, they'd be like, fucking psycho, evil eyes. Or I'm gonna stay with you for a guy who has evil eyes. But back then, parang, okay, we'll stay right here. We'll circle the block. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's also funny that he's driving around in that mask.
Yeah.
Because there's a scene where Loomis may 2 shot eh. That it's Dr. Loomis and he's looking around and then Michael Myers drives past him. You know? And I was thinking, there's no APB on this dude, huh? Talaga, it's okay. Let's not stop him. It's just driving around, But
Yeah.
it's all right. Suspension of disbelief. It's okay. It's 78. But still,
And Dr. Loomis is creepy as shit too.
Yeah, he's
Yelling at
pretty
the
fucking
kids.
creepy.
He
Yeah,
yelled
he's
at
pretty
the
fucking
kids. Get out of there. I'm like, dude, you're the same as Michael Myers.
And
I
he's
think
just
I read-
standing outside the house, like literally for the entire climax. He was on the road. You know what I mean? Outside the house. It's like the kids run out there. It's like, oh, he's in this house.
Well, tingnan 5 blocks away. Look, 5 blocks away. That's where Michael Myers has been all along, But yeah, there's a story I read that they had paid Donald Pleasance, I think, 1/4 of the budget for the movie because at this point he was the only known.
Oh shit, that's huge.
Because he had already appeared in 100 films, and they wanted to get Peter Cushing, and I think they wanted to get a bunch of like horror actors, like famous horror actors for 3. I think it was like a 4-day shoot. He came out for 4 days. For
Oh, I think Christopher Lee was up for
Christopher
it
Lee.
too.
Yeah, Christopher Lee. And but nobody, they didn't want to do it. And so Donald Pleasance got it. And buti na lang, because he really, he's the
I
guy
thought
that
it was great.
He's
Yeah.
galing niya. I can't stop saying that he had the blackest eyes. The blackest
Pure
eyes.
evil.
Pure evil. That's right. Yeah, so yeah, those are the cool things about it. So you guys didn't think it was dated?
I didn't think it was dated at all. I think it could have been, I mean, like in the sense that maybe like if it was made today with the same script.
Yeah, the script, medyo newer jargon lang.
Yeah.
Take
jargon,
out
language.
meatheads. Yeah.
Take out meathead.
Take out meatheads.
That threw me off, meatheads.
Wait, but what if Richard Linklater directed it and then it's his version 2020 but it's but in 78? Like he's
Okay.
doing, he's doing
Speaking
it.
as the masa here,
Okay.
why? Why is Linkley? Okay, I know he's the before sunrise dude, diba?
Yeah.
No, but
Or
he,
hindi?
Yeah.
no, he
Yes,
is. He is.
Okay,
He is.
so why?
Yeah.
Why is this? Why?
Because he
Why?
did.
Why should I?
Chris, help me out here. What's his famous one?
What's the whole-
The 70s later, the big one.
The one he shot for 12 years.
No, that's Boy.
Boy?
No, the
Boyhood?
70s one.
Boy?
The 70s one where they're all dazed and confused. So
Dazed and
think
Confused. Oh my
so think dazed and confused. He takes that cast, right?
Uh-huh.
Or kunwari
Puts it in
2020.
2018,
But
2020.
2020, but then he shoots a periods because he's good at it, at like the 70s look. So
Yeah,
he
yeah,
directs
yeah, yeah.
pwede. So may meathead. The dialogue calls for
Ah.
meathead. You know.
Like the same way Stranger Things does
Right.
80s
Yes,
jargon.
yes, very good.
Yung
Yeah.
diba?
So it might work.
Pinakakahon.
It might work. It still might be, diba? So the music, he'll probably put in a lot of, because may budget siya. Eh. So all the hits of the 70s are being played. Anyway,
Yeah.
just a crazy idea.
I don't know if Halloween would be remade after the 7 movies. Is it 7? Basta ang dami. I looked it up. So many. More
And
than
they're
7.
actually there are 2 more on the way in the next few years. Like
What?
they shot 2 in a row.
Why?
Yeah.
Wala na.
Why?
Actually, 2 is not bad.
What was 2?
I haven't seen 2.
That's Season of the Witch, right?
No, that's 3. That has nothing to do with the series.
Had nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah. 2
Oh.
What was 2?
actually picks up right as the last 5 minutes of 1. Kaya ang galing. It was shot like
Oh,
81. So
I have not seen this pala.
he falls and it's the same night. It's the same night. Like he's been shot 6 times. Loomis goes nuts, goes down. He has to find him. So that's what the movie is about. It's not that bad. It's more gory kasi 81 eh. Parang okay.
Yeah.
Let's put more blood, more, but
Sure.
it's, and Carpenter
Ayoko yung description mo. It's not that bad. So I don't know. It's not a winning.
No, because I was gonna say John Carpenter did not direct it, so it might. So kasi the key is Carpenter's, the shots, the way,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
parang the cast is there, but your director helming it might have a different. So it's not that bad.
Okay.
It's like saying next Godfather, but it's somebody else directing it. Parang, it's not that
exactly.
bad, it's still good.
Not that bad.
But-
I actually do use that expression a lot when I justify my love for horror movies, and I'm watching
then,
something really fucking
Pinipace ko
stupid.
muna eh. Baka,
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
oh, Dead Snow?
It's not
I
that
love
bad,
it's not that
really.
bad. Oh, ang ganda.
Uy, ganda kaya ng Dead
No,
Snow.
that's what you tell people who don't watch horror films. That like, so it's like, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
ganda,
it's not that
ganda
bad.
siya.
Pero before we continue, I'm checking out the Halloween line. Halloween 2007 is a remake of the original.
The Rob Zombie one?
The Rob Zombie one.
2007? Yes, the Rob Zombie one is a
See,
remake.
I refuse
Yeah.
to watch it eh. Maganda ba?
I have not
it's
seen
a Rob
that. No.
Zombie.
I've
That's-
seen H20 and then the latest. That's it in the Halloween franchise.
I saw the
I have
latest.
not seen the Halloween. I like the
Your
latest,
Halloween-
actually.
Rotten Tomatoes 26%. So
Oh.
maybe not.
No, but Rotten Tomatoes rates Riverdale 87. You can't believe Rotten Tomatoes. You can't.
Okay,
Yeah, dude.
Metacritic
seriously,
47%.
Okay.
So,
See, that's
Yeah.
higher. See, that's the equivalent of it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not
That's
that
true.
bad. Oh, it's not. Well, I'll give you a story. Like, it's separate. Like Dawn of the Dead in the beginning, Turkey.
Oh fuck!
Everybody,
Turkey. Yeah.
everybody said it was the worst film ever made, and now it's taught
Yeah.
in colleges. Like, there's a whole, courses
Mhm.
devoted as to why this is one of the, So maybe, but being that it's Rob Zombie, I will now say that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to be
It's not
teaching.
gonna happen. No.
Nobody's going to be
No,
teaching
no, no.
any merits of why you should study the remake of Halloween 2007. Let's just be
Yeah.
clear in case people email me like talaga.
When I was watching Halloween, I couldn't stop thinking of Scream the first Scream, and then how it kept referencing like all these tropes from horror movies, and then all these tropes are in Halloween.
Yes.
Like you can't have sex because you're gonna get murdered.
You're dead.
And it's always teenagers. It's teenagers.
Always teenagers. The virgin will survive.
Yes.
The idiotic sheriff is in it. The incompetent sheriff. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like
you're right. You're right.
It's it's so many tropes. Maybe started here. I don't know.
I
I'm
think
not
it's
that
horny
boyfriend there actually.
Yeah.
Right?
The horny boyfriend.
The horny
Grabe
boyfriend.
yung horny boyfriend in this one, huh?
What
Diba?
did
You think the horny boyfriend would be hotter? Parang,
Oo nga. Sobrang pangit.
what is this?
Parang upgrade pa nga nung naging Michael Myers with the kumot with like the sheet. Parang, hey, you look better than my horny boyfriend now. Whoever you are, I'll take you, right?
And it also depicted teen sex perfectly. Yung ang bilis lang, and it's just like, wala lang,
Get me a beer.
It was so fast. It was so
Now
fast.
that you brought that up, to start, diba, it was a first person point of view of the kid, Michael Myers, checking out his sister, and they're about to have sex. They go upstairs, and then he goes in the house, and then suddenly the guy goes down. So that must have been a really, really short fucking session.
It was like
the
2
guy
minutes.
goes down, he's buttering his says like, wow, dude, that was quick.
And the sister was still naked when he went down. So kakatapos lang, like it was so fast.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The sister, yung gratuitous, the sister is still naked.
Still naked.
Parang he's like, Michael, what are you doing? Like, you should lock your door, sister. What is wrong with you?
Pero galing, we saw no nipple. I was looking for it. Because I was like, this is 1970s. Are they gonna show some nipple? No nipple. It was covered by the mask or by blood.
Ang galing.
I know
But they did show it later on, though, right? When the girl was like,
blood was covering it. Blood was covering
really?
it. Yeah.
Didn't even realize. Ang galing. I wonder if it's obviously R-rated. That's it. Or is it, there is no such thing as any other higher rating. It's either
In the
an
70s, I don't know.
It's either,
was there
it's-
X?
I don't think that's an
was
X.
hardly X.
That's just
There's
R.
no way that was X. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of there's a lot of people got to watch it. What happened? I was reading up on it also that when it first came out, not too many people. It took 4 months for it to really become the hit that it was. It was like a surprise. It's an indie. For all intents and purposes, it's an indie film, right? It's an
It was. It was an indie film. Yeah.
Apparently, up until 15 years ago, it was the number one grossing independent film. It
Wow.
made
Incredible.
It made $60 million, right?
Up until 15 years ago?
Parang ganun. Because I saw a documentary.
That's incredible.
I saw a documentary like circa 2005 on it when they were saying only recently did we were no longer number one. So I was like, whoa. So it was for like 20 years it was still, I don't know, that's I guess a drive through like in the States, because we don't have that, right? I know, for example, a lot of horror films, like Dawn of the Dead is still shown on drive-thrus in late night. Like if you're in New York, I saw Blade Runner, so they're still making money in the. I think that was one of the special midnight showings, so they were still making money off of Halloween. So who? Sino ba producer? Who? I don't even know who produced
Halloween?
Yeah, I don't.
See, these are things that the masa people don't check anymore.
No,
Yung mga producers.
Diba? Kasi for a $300,000 investment and a $60 million, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Somebody made a lot of money, and that's without the merch. When you think about it, like those, there's a toy maker, the Michael Myers toys. So they probably made a killing on that as well. Chris, who's the toy maker? Sorry, Chris.
Mattel.
Is it Mattel? Yeah,
toy maker.
The toy maker. No, Mattel is the toy maker of the 70s. No, who does the horror figures? McFarlane. Say, for example, they made a lot of money because I have the Michael Myers McFarlane character, So even that, and they made so much money for a $300,000 investment. I mean, come on, how much money did they make? That's a lot. So
to answer your question, who produced it?
Yeah,
Deborah Hill.
Oh my God! So
Deborah Hill
of the screenwriter.
This is her first movie with John Carpenter.
Wow,
Nice.
power
His wife or
couple.
ex-wife, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she went on to make the other movies with them: Escape from New York,
A great
Fog,
film, The Fog.
Halloween 2, Dead Zone, Halloween 3, Clue, etc., etc., etc.
Also, Halloween 3 was John Carpenter again.
Or produced by
No.
Deborah Hill.
Produced.
Produced by Deborah Hill. Yeah.
I think John Carpenter's first film was Assault on Precinct 13 was his first film.
Yes.
There is another John Carpenter film. I know we're talking about Halloween, but he did this film called In the Mouth of Madness, which I am
Sam Neill.
I am so scared of that film. I am
I have
to this
not
day.
seen it.
Oh, Aaron, I am genuinely afraid of that film. It is so scary.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
That scene in the bus where what if you wake up and everything is one color, and then
Yeah.
he wakes up and it's blue.
Yeah. And
Wow, now I want to see this.
Then I
That
think
was
they
a
also
terrifying-
pioneered that whole like you can never leave thing
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you keep
Yeah.
driving away and then suddenly you take a turn
Yeah.
and then you're suddenly back.
yeah, the
You know,
boy.
back in the
I think they're one of the earliest
Yeah.
that they've ever.
Yeah. You remember
Yeah.
the bicycling boy with the card and the spokes? Oh man.
Yep.
I hate that. That's still because every once in a while you see it on HBO, and I cannot stop myself from okay, it's here and there, and I'm still scared. But anyway, that's John Carpenter's, I guess latter work. I actually don't know if he still makes films. He's still alive, right?
He's still alive. Yes.
Yeah.
Twitter has killed him a few times,
A
and
few
he has
times.
responded saying, "Guys, I'm still alive." Like he has literally responded saying, "I'm not dead."
How old is
Yeah.
he?
He should be in his 80s, I think.
Should be in his 80s, guy, no? But
He
yeah.
is he's 72, guys.
Ah,
wow, that's a lot younger.
Yeah.
Gawa ka pa, John.
Go back up, bud.
I'm such a fan of John Carpenter, man. Like, I mean, on a tangent, no, but like, The Thing is, I think, my favorite horror film. Like,
That's one
I
of the
can
best.
watch that a million times, and I would never get bored watching that movie. It's so good.
The actors are super. See, he said in an interview once that there's a dog, but the dog is what brings the thing
Yeah.
into. That's
Mhm.
the best actor. He's the dog.
The dog.
Because
Yeah.
because when he asked the trainer, like, can you make him stop at the door, look left? Sure. And one
He
take,
does it.
he does it. Because I had the director's cut DVD with the commentary. Like, yeah, that's a great.
Love it.
That's a great film as well.
Fantastic film.
Fantastic.
I
yeah.
should check him out more. Because talagang I was unaware of John Carpenter.
I am hoping someone will choose The Thing, Aaron, because I know you would love
Yeah.
it for one of our next episodes.
As in
I
that
know
old
Miguel will love
one that they were showing in the
No,
Halloween.
they remade that one.
Yeah.
That was the original one.
Yeah,
the
that's
black
the
and white one was the
The
original.
Howard Hawks
And
original.
he
Yeah.
remakes it, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. I love it. I love it so
Yeah.
much. It
I
came
actually
out around
want
the
to see
same
this
time as
Mouth of
Alien.
Madness one. That
In the Mouth of
parang-
Madness.
Hmm.
Also
That's a
super
little
good.
that's Lovecraftian. Naman.
Yeah.
What
it
does
is.
that mean, no?
Sorry,
HP.
Mahaba-usapan yata ito.
Lovecraft. You know, the concept of like elder gods and then like gods outside of the world, and I don't know,
Okay.
like
Like when God was a child, there were like these older, far darker, evil gods who are unexplainable.
Okay. Gets. Like all being like a yeah.
yeah, this is like sensory horror. Like it's not really like it doesn't exist in the physical plane, but it's like I don't know how. Like it's such a difficult genre to explain.
Yeah.
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Like,
Didn't even know
Lovecraft
that
can't
it
explain it well either. So.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's cool.
yeah.
That's
But
cool.
the thing, I really hope someone chooses The Thing because, and if someone doesn't choose The Thing for one of our episodes,
Let's just
we're
do
gonna
it.
We're gonna do it anyway because
Yeah.
it's an incredible film, and that's why John Carpenter is one of my all-time favorite horror directors.
Did you guys also realize that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is, I think I know it's going to sound strange, but for 78, it's a feminine character, feminist movement. Like she's smart,
Yeah,
she's brave. She's, she
she
does
fights
all-
back.
She
Yeah,
fights
yeah.
back. No, really, di ba? Parang she took care of the kids and then took
Mhm.
galing lang eh. Kasi I remember in Texas Chainsaw, everybody there is sort of, you want them to die. I'm sorry. You're for Leatherface. There is no sympathy. This woman is not likable. This guy's not likable. That's why you enjoy it when they're being killed. Which is one of those, another trope that you have in horror films. The asshole guy generally gets the worst.
Revel in his death.
And it's really the worst death. It's really the most vile way. And you're applauding it. This time, you want, well, obviously, I still wanted Jamie Lee to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So she is, I don't know if she's the first, she's not the first, but she is one of the quintessential final girls, diba?
Yeah.
It's a very big trope in horror films. It's the girl who survives being chased, someone wants to kill her, and then comes out unscathed, obviously traumatized. But she's one of the quintessential ones.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
like one of the best examples. And I actually really love that the whole trope. It's so cheesy because so many movies do it, but when it's done right, it's so fun. So it was so nice seeing it.
You were cheering for her. You're really cheering for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's another of the. It's not exploitation straight up, because I'm sure there's a lot of that. There's so many copycats that followed. Even like there's a movie called My Bloody Valentine, which is basically the same film, but it's so it's also the protagonist is also wearing a mechanic jumpsuit and has a sickle naman this time. But I remember all the characters there again were like, sige, patayin mo na yan. Like it's not like you were rooting for them. Like I almost wish a kid trip. I wish the girl trips para mag-abot na. It's stuff like that. So again, that's one of the things I guess that rewatching is like, oh, okay, that's a strong female character. That's granted, maybe as Aaron says, the lines are not exactly written like there's no real like Academy Award winning section there, but still, she's I think that's one more strong thing about the film.
So venturing into spoiler territory now, she gets killed off in Halloween H20, and then she gets resurrected again in the new film. Basically, the new film ignores H20 totally.
So that's
why
this never happened, because it was so bad.
You should not.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the new film retcons everything, actually. So the new film is supposed to be in like almost a direct sequel to the first one. I think.
First one. So that would be better.
Have you followed the franchise, Diego?
No way. Well, my wife and I watched the last one because it was Jamie Lee, because we were thinking like, okay, maybe it's gonna be. I think I was telling Quark, like, I wish I had written it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have had better ideas of how to make this work. It just seemed like it seemed like they ran out of steam in the middle, and they were like, "Sige, let's just do it this way." I mean, I was disappointed because I watched the first day. Like the first day it was out, I was like, "Oh, we gotta go. We gotta go. This is Halloween, and it's Jamie Lee, and and everything had so much promise, but I didn't like it so much.
To be honest with you, I really enjoyed it, but I also felt like it didn't have that X factor to put it over the top.
It's not.
I enjoyed it. It's respectable.
Not that bad.
No,
man. It's better than not that bad.
But do you think it comes from the expectation of remembering what the original was?
I think so too. I think we're spoiled that's why in that sense.
We're kind of harder because you're like,
we're harder on.
I know what this films felt like when I first saw it. I follow these things, and then
because I wasn't scared at all. I didn't feel the same rush of adrenaline watching the new film. I enjoyed like certain story beats, but I didn't have the same like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? From the first film. And I guess that's the life you have to lead as a fan of horror.
Yes.
That nothing really scares you anymore. Nothing really, because you're so desensitized from everything you've seen.
True.
So it's hard, but
I have speaking of, since we are all, this is a horror podcast, like I have a funny observation about horror, of the horror genre in general, in terms of my personal enjoyment. I realize that when I'm happiest is when I have the most fun and most scares. because I have not a care in the world. Life is great, and this just makes it more. This makes life more. Yay! It's almost like bungee jumping. You know, it's like the thrill of like.
Oh yeah.
Like this crazy, like but you're safe in your home, but I realize when I'm having a bad week and I watch a horror film, it's not coming through because there's more true horror in my life that's happening. I swear, I know it's a funny thing.
Dude.
I believe that. I also believe that if you're a horror fanatic, generally you're a happy, loving, fun-loving guy because you're able.
I think so too.
I
think so too. I totally believe that.
I think that the horror geeks are the guys who are just generally in like that happy state, and that's when you can appreciate it. But sometimes when you're not in that happy state, it just doesn't. You know, you're the pessimist guy that watched the horror. Oh, wala namang ganyan eh. No, dude. I don't know. This has been because I am old. I have realized that there are times where even the films that I really, really love, I watch them and it's not in a good mood. I'm like, I'm not scared. It's weird.
Yeah.
So I think if you're a horror geek, generally you're just a happy dude who likes these things because you love life, love the fear.
Oh, man.
That's so reassuring.
I love it.
That is true.
That
That would explain why. That would explain why Black Mirror is not being renewed. I mean, or being done right now.
Mhm.
I mean, like the explanation of the showrunner.
Oh yeah.
Is that
where,
I'm not
like,
gonna make I'm not gonna make
life is
Black Mirror just
too
life
bleak.
is black.
It's
Right
already
now.
bleak to begin with. No, I believe that because it's just fun. Like because it goes back to what we were all saying earlier about your horror origin story. It's with your family. It's
Yeah,
you're reminded of your childhood. You're all together, and this is the fun thing. You know, it's a fun. Yes, it's scary. Yes, there's 2 hours of your life where maybe you'll get nightmares, but it's still that thing that brings you back. Again, it sounds cliche or cornball, but I think that's the truth. That's what
Yeah.
I think so too.
that's what led to where I am now. I think I still call my folks. I swear.
Yeah.
And I say like, hey, I watched this, like whatever horror film that I just, saw, like, I think you guys will like this. And they're in their 70s, my parents are, but they're like, sige, we'll check that out. It's just it, I don't know. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree with you. It's like I love watching it with family or with loved ones because it's like it reminds me of like when I was a kid, like that game where you throw a blanket over yourself and with like someone else, and you're like, there's a fucking monster outside, but this magic blanket will protect me. You know what I mean? That's what I feel when I watch a horror film, like a really scary horror film with like a loved one, and you're like just like we got this safe protective space.
that's another thing that's so true because you're safe. Well, at least that's the feeling. That's like, okay, we're safe here. My wife knows this. Like I lock the doors after we watch like a zombie film. I relock the door. She finds it funny. I double check that. I don't know. It's just that fun thing that we do. And I got into like the horror genre. And so I do these crazy things. My bandmates know that we're on tour. We're in a van and I'm quiet. And our drummer Mike Dizon will go, ini-imagine mo kung may zombie, kung anong gagawin mo, no? Yeah, man. Like that's my life. I find that fun. It's stuff like that, and it sort of permeates in my whole life. So I lock the doors. I double check. I turn on the light here. We make sure. I even have. Have you had Nick on the show already?
Not yet, but we will. He will be on.
So our dear
he's already chosen the film. So.
Okay, let's not spoil it. So Nick and I, we have our running conversation of what to do, for example, when a zombie apocalypse or if Mike Myers comes. Like for us at least, it's serious business. Like I know and I tell my wife like, ganito, here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna do this. We're gonna barricade. I know it's funny, but it makes, it makes you feel alive in this moment, So sometimes, and because we're in a bit of a shitty thing that's happening now, it's also sometimes just good to run these things and like, okay, it's great escapism, So
one of my closest friends actually has a go bag with like talagang just in case something happens.
Yeah.
With me, kasi with horror, I'm not that intense. Na I'm gonna imagine it happen to me. But the way I see it is sort of like it's the thrill of wanting to ride a roller coaster. It's that parang, oh my god, I'm gonna get scared. That's why I enjoy it.
Adrenaline rush.
Yeah. That's why when I see a really good horror movie, I'm so parang afterwards I'm so happy. I'm like, oh my god, that was so good.
That
freaked me out.
The endorphins that it releases is real.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I hear you. That's for me. That's why it's never gonna end. Like my love for our mutual, everyone's here's love for is rooted in that. So galing
Yeah.
lang. So
But people now have to get way more creative. Like we said earlier, diba? You get desensitized. So
we're
people
spoiled. We're
need to
so
get creative.
desensitized.
yeah, no, I agree.
And that's why I kind of feel bad also because like you guys got to see Halloween when it came out and stuff like that.
Sure.
Because when I saw Exorcist, I was 13. I didn't get scared because I had seen spoofs of it. I had seen it,
Mhm.
So
It's demystified na. No? You saw a spoof of it na, so it's not.
yeah.
I hear you.
So when my mom told me that when she saw Exorcist, when the head turned, everyone freaked out. But when I saw it, I was like, no, okay lang.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I agree.
I was born into a generation where the expectations are already here. So you have to go way above that to be able
Do you
to scare.
believe, guys, that perhaps it is in the storytelling that is lacking? Because do you think that with the combination of what John Carpenter, like taking John Carpenter's Halloween as an example, if it is music, the way it is shot, the way that you can somehow, but what if the scare is within you? It's that underlying feeling that, and is it here? If it's not that gory, but I think that if you make a movie like that nowadays, you can still circumvent because it's not going to be over the top. It's just that sensory overload from like the way it's shot, the way the music is, the way for me the deadpan acting always scares the living shit out of me. That's why kasi parang what the. It's not like you can. Do I want to fight him? Do I want to run? I don't know. It's because it's just so. I don't know. There's something to be said for that sort of. I'm guessing, and it's just very, something like that. Maybe somebody's gonna direct something like that. That's just gonna a new revolution for you.
Yeah. I think whoever directs new horror movies kind of has to get in the head of people nowadays because it's so different now. Like everyone's medyo ADHD. Our attention spans are so small. So taking into account how people are thinking nowadays, maybe you can still, innovate in that way.
Yeah.
But like, for example, I'm just going to give an example. There is an old movie that still scares me and it's old. It's black and white. The Haunting. They made a remake, which was
That's a good one.
that was all sound. And it still scares me.
Yeah.
So I think
it's great.
pwede pa naman
Yeah.
without the imagery.
Yeah, no, I agree because I think your mind might be the biggest factor in scaring you. It is
Definitely.
your own imagination ramping this shit up. You're like, oh man, why is it dark? Why is this music coming in? It's that anticipation. Na baka baliktad pa. When the reveal is there, it's like, okay, it's just gory and there's guts. And you're like, oh, I've seen this a billion times. But if it just hangs on for dear life, just holding you there, that might make for that's just me. So I agree with Aaron. Parang, it's the music, it's the
This is why for me torture porn doesn't work at all.
doesn't work
Because it's like it just shows you everything, you know what I mean? There's no nuance. That's why it's not scary anymore. It's just
scary.
gross. You know what I mean? It's just gross.
No, I
And
agree.
that's not my thing.
Neither.
That's why something like Halloween where there's so little gore. Like there's barely any gore.
It's very
But it's scary. You know what I mean? It's like Jaws, where like you spend the whole film you're terrified of the shark, but
yes.
when you review it, the shark was there for like 20 minutes out of a 2-hour movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Nice.
it's the anticipation, it's the build up. It's that. It's not the
It's not the
spilling of
monster itself.
Yeah.
It's the anticipation.
Exactly. It's your imagination of what's gonna happen.
That's the key right there. I think Aaron hit something right as well. The attention span of young people has to be fast cutting. Has to be like there's no more. It's not gonna unfurl very long. They can't stand that. There's no para yung backstory. Kailangan we gotta cut this really fast. We gotta make this to hold their attention span, and maybe that's going to be difficult down the line. But but that's why it's exciting to see horror films of every shape and size. It could be a B movie from Romania, and you're like, whoa, ang ganda nito. What?
Yeah, dude.
I saw. Have you guys seen? There's a zombie film that I saw, which which nobody saw. The Night Eats the World.
No, I've never even heard of that.
It's a French film called The Night Eats the World. And it is so well done. It is one of those scripts where is it correct? The Night Eats the World. Is that correct?
Yep. 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a combination French. It's shot in Paris. Not that I'm spoiling anything, but then it's just that they were able to sit down and think of what else is a story that hasn't been told, na zombie. And it's also it's more psychological. It's about, well, I guess in the end it's like he's already hallucinating that he has friends because he's the premise is more that he's alone and he wants to go already. Like the alternative of being alive without anybody is worse than being eaten by almost to that, so it's a nice spin. And they're like thinking like, yeah, maybe if I'm all alone, I'll be like, well, yeah, because in every other zombie film that we watch, it's always survival, right? It's because you have either your wife, your loved one, your kid, so you're fighting. But what if you're alone? It's a simple,
nice.
Like we could be talking about it like, oh, that's our story, na, then what happens? So my imaginary friend, and it's so well made. I was like, wow,
oh shit, okay.
I can't believe that. I never I like to think of myself as always thinking of that next zombie film, and it's so well made. I don't think anybody watched it. I know Mick didn't even see it. It's like, Mick, have you seen it? It's like,
well, I'm gonna watch it now.
It's really good, So I think piggybacking on our storytelling of like, where are horror films going to? I still believe that storytelling, just thinking of ideas wherein like it doesn't have to be as gory, it doesn't have to be just think of a premise where you think it's going to be. So, and then that was really scary. I really, really liked it. I think Maui's reading awesome. Are you reading the notes?
The summary.
Yeah, because I'm reading like the first half. I don't want to get spoiled.
Is it reviewed well?
No, it's just the plot. I'm just reading the plot. I don't want to review.
There's no panning by any, because I don't think anybody watched it. But trust me, it is a great film. And this is coming
mixed reviews.
Mixed reviews. No. Just watch it. It's something.
No,
different.
I'm gonna watch it. Okay.
It's just something different. I'm not saying it's super great, huh? I'm just saying it's a great take on.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. No, it's
not that bad.
It's like, okay, the Hollywood Reporter said it's like, imagine 28 days later without the action. Right? That's not fair to say, to compare it.
I hate it when people just come up with one-liners. I just always imagine like a writer being like, I'm going to be snarky and I'm going to come up with a one-liner to trash this film.
But again, what Aaron said is correct. That's exactly what that writer is saying. Kasi nga, it's not fast-paced, crazy.
Flashy. It's not flashy.
Do I like 28 Days Later? Hells yeah. But you can't redo that. Well, as a film, as anybody who wants to think of himself as a serious filmmaker, but I can't redo that. Everyone's gonna say it's worse but to be told na, inulit mo lang yan eh. That's 28 days later, you idiot. You just you shot it in Manila. I can't do that. Any person who you like, whose opinion matters, will say like, dude, it's great, but you just ripped off 28 days. You just shot it in Tondo, or whatever. So this one is different. It's whatever. Anyways, that's just my story.
Awesome.
All right.
Any final thoughts on Halloween?
Everyone.
Or in horror in general. If that's
any final thoughts? I'll start it. I saw Halloween for the first time around 10 years ago, something like that. I was astounded, by the way, and that was my first John Carpenter film. And then I after that, I immediately went through his entire filmography, fell in love with The Thing, and now it's my favorite horror film, I think.
Wow.
And I watched Halloween again yesterday, and it was still incredible for me. I mean, as a horror fan, watching this film made in the 70s, watching it again in 2020, I thought it still stood up. I thought it was incredible. I thought stylistic choices, the music, the direction, shot coverage, everything was excellent. And then just my great joy of watching this film was really realizing how many films after it ripped it off.
Yes,
just stole so much from it, and it's incredible for me just watching it. And I had so much fun watching it again. I'm so glad you chose this film, Diego. You guys, what did you think of it, Aaron? As someone who saw it for the first time.
For me, it was more of like, I enjoyed it because it felt like a trip down slasher film history.
Very good,
Because
yeah.
I started from flash forward. I started from the 2000s. I saw Scream. I know what you did last summer. Big fan of that franchise. So it was nice to see where that started, where that came from, where, it started out as a suburban thing pala. And then later on they made it, they brought it to the city. Ganun. So I really enjoyed it. I did. And it was so fun for me to know that there are people who can write and direct and put their own music and do the whole thing. Like, whoa,
That's true.
dude, galing.
True.
Wala nang ganyan
Incredible.
ngayon. Si Christopher Nolan, hindi naman nag-music. Oh. There are not a lot of directors that can do that anymore. So
Hal Hartley does his music. Tama ba?
the
Still
what?
does. There's a director named Hal Hartley. He does his
Yes,
music.
he does. Yes.
Yes. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. That's
Thank you for choosing this film, Diego.
Yeah,
That's,
thank
for
you.
having me. No, thank you. I rewatched it again because I knew I liked it. Like we said at the beginning, it was gonna be Dawn of the Dead, but somebody beat me. But this is another
I
film. that was very-
apologize.
No. This is also something that's very that informed my horror taste because I watched this when I was like 8 years old, and watching it now, I think what I've come to realize is that if you do it's a simple tale, right? It's just a simple story, but if it's executed, it's shot incredibly. It is shot so well. The music is just incredible. If you put all those elements into a simple, well thought of scary tale, and you have a great film. It's not just a great horror film. It's a great film. It's a great independent
Absolutely.
film. It shows you that, young people because they were young, they were in their early 20s or maybe mid 20s when they shot it, when Carpenter and everybody did it. And if you, invest that sort of love and time into anything, and then you make some sort of semi masterpiece.
Yeah. And I wouldn't have ever watched this if he didn't make me watch it. Because I'm only going to watch the movies that come out now. So it was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so
It's
much.
good. It's good. I also thought there's a lot of really new horror films, obviously, that I really, really love, but I thought it'd be nice to talk about literally like the origins of the slash, like you mentioned, like Chris mentioned, the origins of where the slasher film came from and all these tropes. And so it's good. It's good to see that. Yeah.
Awesome.
But
That's
remember,
fantastic.
before we go,
Yes.
just remember, he had the blackest eyes.
The blackest eyes. Pure evil.
Pure evil to devil's eyes. All right.
Mr. Diego, do you have something to plug for us?
The plug.
Yeah. Anything you're working on right now?
No, I don't. I still have a sandwich. So hopefully we actually recorded a new EP and we have 2 singles that are out on Spotify.
Fantastic.
It's
Awesome.
Horror music video.
horror music video. That's the next. So hopefully when everything becomes better, which it will, hopefully sooner than later, then we will all see each other. We'll all be safe. We'll all be able to enjoy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We will be able to enjoy not only watching movies but watching bands and going out and hanging out. So that's about it. That's soon.
Awesome.
Yes.
So nice talking to you, brother.
Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
I hope you will be a recurring guest.
Oh,
Yes.
of course. I shall already message you now the films that I want to talk about.
Oh, yeah, reserve it. I just want this on record. Diego is the expert on anything George Romero, anything zombies, and someone reserved his favorite film before he did, and I feel so bad that I didn't say no.
Can I do one last trivia?
Absolutely, please.
So, because as horror fans, my wife and I rewatched Silence of the Lambs during this pandemic of ours, right? And while watching, I said, that guy looks like George Romero. And lo and behold, I checked IMDb. It was George Romero for one.
No,
second.
he's in Silence of the Lambs?
See, because I knew what he looked like.
Oh, shit. That's incredible.
Like, he's there. I won't tell you where, so you guys, when you watch it, you can figure it out. He's not in the credits, right?
Oh, shit.
So you just take a look and
Oh, my God. Okay.
that's how much I recognize his 80s self. Because you see him before he passed away, all right, that's it.
That's the perfect way to end this episode.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You guys be safe. You guys be safe. You guys take care. I'll see you guys soon.
See you soon, brother.
Bye.
And that was Halloween with Diego Castillo. So what do you think of that episode, guys?
Super fun. Super fun. I love Diego. And it got
I wish
really
I was
in
on it.
depth.
He really did. So Miguel missed out so much because he
I
dropped
missed
out at
I
the
missed out.
absolute
I know.
start of the pod. But
Wala.
yeah,
I think my
you
internet
really
service
missed
provider.
a lot because that was such a meaty episode
Yeah.
because he knew
So
he had
fun.
so many like bits of trivia and just general knowledge
Yeah.
because he's an expert. I mean, like
Yeah.
seriously.
Another life regret.
Yeah, so maybe you will get to hear this podcast for the first time along with everyone
I
else.
know. I know. I'm so excited. Especially since I watched the movie for it and then get to talk about it.
Exactly. Kawawa.
But yeah, I had so much fun with that episode. That was great.
I'm glad you guys had fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Next week though, we've got something pretty cool. It's not a classic,
Yeah.
but it's definitely different. So it's a monster movie. It's Jeepers
is.
Creepers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Miguel, you want to give everyone a tease
Sure.
on who's
So Jeepers Creepers, the movie of choice by our next guest. It's interesting because her experience is being in front of the camera. She's a bit of a Pinoy horror royalty. She's been in movies by Eric Mati and TV series na horror then based on a graphic novel. So looking forward to having her with us next week.
Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
And I heard she's such a cutie pie. So I'm excited.
She
Oh,
is.
okay. I'm the only one who thinks she's a cutie pie then. All right.
No, I'm
whatever.
agreeing. She
I
is.
think
She
she's
is.
whatever.
No,
Sure.
Too bad we can't
Excuse-
show our
yeah.
faces on the podcast. The faces I'm seeing right now.
Nah, it's such a fun episode.
Yeah,
you know
it was a fun
what's so
episode.
before we segue to end this episode, I just want to say it's so much fun meeting new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
agree.
It's a.
And
This is how
yeah.
I've made new friends during the pandemic.
yeah,
This is how
exactly.
Quality friends. Quality.
quality friends.
And yeah, that the episode we have for next week is was one of those times where it's like we never met this person before until the pod, and it was so much fun, and we
Yeah.
actually stayed
It
on
was.
for quite a bit longer after we recorded our episode because it was we had a great time. So yeah.
We did. We have
Yeah.
an amazing time. So thank you. Thank you everybody for listening to this podcast. If you liked it, please remember to subscribe to our podcast wherever you heard this. We're everywhere. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. Everywhere. Basta, just look for Dead Air. That's us. And we have socials
Your
that you can
platform
follow.
of choice.
Yes. We have socials that you can follow also on your platforms of choice. What? You got Instagram? So do we. Dead Air Pod. What? You got Twitter? So do we. Dead Air Pod. What? You got Facebook? We actually have a community on Facebook, man. A growing one. So join that as well. Dead Air, a horror podcast. And
I love
yeah,
those guys.
please. Yeah, shout out to everybody in that group. Thank you so much for making the community as engaging as it is. So yeah, thanks guys. We hope to see you on all our socials and our podcast platforms.
You know what's great about the Facebook community?
What?
It's made up of adults.
Yeah. I don't know if I could actually be in a group full of like kids only.
Like
don't know.
big babies, right?
Yeah, what? They're just gonna talk about like candy and toys and stuff?
Right.
Yep.
Babies.
Nope.
Wait, I can be
Good
part of a
conversations.
group full of big babies. What are you,
You
talking
can?
about?
Well, maybe
Yes.
that's maybe because you are a big baby.
Are you?
I
a big
am?
baby?
Are you?
How big a
Maybe.
baby are
Now-
you? Oh my
But
god!
yung boses mo.
Wait,
Dead Air
parang
Podcast is
negative.
brought to you by
Big Baby
Big Baby.
Studios.
Big
Wah,
Baby
wah,
Studios.
wah.
Thank you, big baby.
Big Baby
Thank you, Big
Studios.
Baby.
Thank you, Big Baby. You're the best.
For being the actual adults in this whole organization.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Brought to you by Big Baby Studios.